Hello everyone, Voodoo here. So in today's video, I want to take another look at Havoc Sims and just overall how we're doing in the meta today. It's been a little bit of a time since I've checked out Sims, so these are going to be a bit updated. A few things have changed in them that I want to go over and talk about. And also I want to take a look at Warcraft Vlogs and Raid.io and just talk about how Havoc is, like how their viability is in the meta and where their place is today. Alright, so here we are over on the sim sheet. Now, since the last time I've done this video, not a ton has changed here. There's been a few more like comparisons down here. He's done the tyrannical sims, which shout out to Atreyan. Fortify will be coming and I'll do another video on that when that comes out. I have a video on this down here. But there is one thing that actually did come up and change a little bit, and that's actually in the Sims. So you can see here they're actually a little bit lower than normal. And there's a reason for that, and that's kind of the reason I wanted to touch on this part in the video. So what Atreyan's done, besides going over and changing out Toxic Thorn Foot Wraps on the AoE Sims, because as we know, these slimy expulsion boots were over simming because the haste thing was not actually accounted for in the Sims. So Toxic Thorn Foot Wraps is just going to be the best in all scenarios. But as I was saying, Atreyan has come through here and gotten us some new Sims, and the reason for that is we've actually dropped some DPS here a bit. Now Havoc over Sims, I'll talk about us over simming in a second, but he's gone in and he's actually removed a lot of the vault gear we get. So this is our best single target sim with Serrated Glaive. Now I do think Restless Hunter is better. I do think you probably should be playing that. It generally performs better. This is probably a weird little sim thing. And a few things have changed here. One, we've actually gotten Haste Mastery Gems instead of crit because we actually just have so much crit in our sim, which is kind of a crazy thing. Also, a fun fact, dropping Looks and Kill for Chaos Theory is a 7 DPS decrease. Didn't know that. But we have here our sim. Now, the big important thing is if you look around this sim, you notice we're missing 447 pieces from the Great Vault. Now that's important because it's really, really difficult to get those pieces, right? So before, two 447 Bilestain Croctus are our bis. You'll notice not really a ton else has changed. Most of our best stuff comes from either crafting or from the raid. So, you know, that's not really changed besides the gems. But you'll notice our weapons have changed. And I've had a question about this, and this is kind of the reason why this video is happening. So what's happened is because it's basically impossible, unless you're Rev from Havoc Discord, to get two 447 tusks. It's just like a really low chance to get that. You have 3 shots at the item each week from a massive pool of Mythic Plus items. Need them on like a 20. Now in 10.1.5 you could do 16s and fill your vault and get it that way because of item changes, but the chance doesn't actually change. So it's still going to be pretty difficult to get to 447 Bilestain Croctus. So what's happened is he's gone over and changed to gear we can farm. And I'll go over and do one of like the Dungeon Slice Sims a bit after this as well, just to show you the gear there. But in single target, it is better to have 1 crafted Warglaive with Critical Strike and Mastery, and 1 Bilestain Croctus, both with Wafting Devotion, than it is to have 2 441 Croctusks. So basically any 447 weapon will sim better than just having two 441s. But it's important to keep in mind there that 2 447 Croctus will still be your best for here. Nothing else here has really changed. Nothing else is that different. But if we go over to Any Means Necessary Sim, we full screen this one here. Come down, we do see that some rings have changed here. So Ominous Chromatic Essence, again, is assuming that you have all buffs. But the rings have changed around. So the 447, it was like Band of the Worm Matron, does outperform the Seal of Daenerys Chosen. However, because you can't guarantee you get that at 447, that this ring is still very good, and then we still have a crafted Crit Mastery ring. You'll probably end up using this ring no matter what you do. This ring is just very good. You can make this with the other ring, and it's not a big deal. Another thing, we actually noticed we actually have versatility gems. We're getting so much mastery and so much crit just from our items that it turns out that actually simming and gemming for versatility ends up giving you just a little bit more value in this build, especially because, you know, Accelerated Blade and Soul Rend, they do double dip versatility. Soul Rend is increased by versatility, so the verse will increase your glaive damage and then increase your Soul Rend damage. So nothing else really has changed too much here, just the rings. Worm Matron is still very good. There are still definitely good options without using Seal of Daenerys Chosen, but I just want to give you guys a bit of an update as to why these sims have changed. Now that out of the way, we're still doing pretty good. 144 is really high. Now we do oversim. There's lots of reasons for this. Fodder is just modeled very inaccurately in sim. It's kind of hard to fix. And then, you know, it's full uptime. There was an uptime sim, I'll throw it up on the screen here, that TXT did. Basically, if you miss like 1 global every minute and 5 minutes, you like 1.6% DPS, and it goes up from there. If you miss basically 1 global for 20 seconds, so 3 globals per minute. Then you end up losing like 5,000 DPS or something. So in these fights where downtime is common, which is a lot of these fights this tier, Havoc will not perform that well, despite us sitting so highly. Now on top of that, there's also this weird thing with haste and high varying haste numbers. So for Havoc, we have the haste the haste enchants, we have meta haste, and we have Furious Gaze haste. And as those like haste values kind of change rapidly, it can cause you to eat GCDs. Like let's say that your Blade Dance is about to come off CD and you push it, but at the same time your haste actually ends up dropping. What's going to happen there is the button won't go off, but you will lose the GCD as if you pushed it because of just some weird interaction with the cooldown of that button and you're changing haste values. Also, we have really high haste now, which can cause you to munch some things, just the spell queuing. Now, there's not really a good fix for that. There's nothing we can really do. You might be able to do like a clear spell queue macro. However, that's not confirmed or anything yet, so I won't post that in the description. But Havoc does over Sim. So with that in mind, how are we doing the meta? Well, let's look at Raid first. So this is the 95th percentile over a range of 2 weeks of all Mythic bosses. And you can see, we're not doing too great. Now, if you come down, you do have to take a grain of salt with the numbers, right? Classes with a higher number will actually be a more representative of their parse. Frosty K is doing crazy. Not sure why. Now, I'll look at different bosses in a second, but, you know, they only have 2,000 parses, so don't really read into that too much. But Havoc Demon Hunter down here, we have 18,000 parses, and we're not doing the best. So down here, we are probably 5th less in DPS. Now, if we go up to 99th percentile, we do increase. If we go up to max percentile, we do increase even further to about middle. But 95th percentile is a pretty good range. The lower we go, we drop further as well. So 50th, we're down to like the bottom. Look at like 20th percentile, we're also down at the bottom. So the lower you go, 70th percentile is like your average player. We're down in the bottom as well. So the lower you go, the worse we do. Now, this isn't too terrible. We have good cleave still. It's just, you know, this raid isn't very good at keeping up with that. And all the downtime just really, really punishes us. Now, if we look at bosses like Kazara, we're down here still, and Frost also drops down. If we look at something like Amalgamation Chamber, we're still down at the bottom. Something like Forgotten Experiments, we do a little bit better with our cleave, but still down at the bottom. Look at Devilker, that's crazy. And finally, something like Rashok, down towards the bottom. And finally, Magmarax. Doing a little better here, but that's because less people have killed it. See here, there's a lot less parses. So generally, these 222 Havocs are going to be towards the higher end of the Havoc. So Havoc not doing great in Raid at the moment, just in terms of damage. Now, of course, we are going to be represented very well. However, tanks are actually doing very well right now. For Vengeance Demon Hunter damage as well. So very likely you could see some guilds swapping out to a VDH. They're very strong in terms of damage. They're very survivable as well. They do just a ton of damage. So does Guardian. Guardian's also up here. Rip Blood Death Knight. However, Vengeance's damage is more so in AoE. I don't think I'm not going to show you logs for Warcraft logs for Myth Plus. It's not like that good of a thing to log, but Vengeance does crazy AoE damage. So that kind of leads to Havoc being a little bit less desirable as well. Vengeance just does a lot. Havoc doesn't do that much in a single target, where Vengeance kind of can hold up that slack a bit while also giving you that buff. So not too great for Havoc right now. We have no changes coming on the horizon either, so it's not going to get better. But, you know, is what it is. Now, what about Mythic Plus? So in Mythic Plus, we're looking here at 25s and up DPS kind of proportions. This is crazy, by the way. Basically, 25% of all DPS that have completed 25 are Shadow Priests. That's 1/4. If you look down here, basically almost every single thing has a Shadow Priest. So that's kind of crazy. Shadow's very strong right now. I'd say it's probably the best. You get Sub Rogue at 13%. You get Boomy at like roughly 10%. You get Ret and Fury at around 8%. You get Enhancement at about 7%. Fire Mage at 5.4%. And then Havoc comes up at 5.2%. So I wouldn't say we're meta. However, I wouldn't say we're bad either. I think we're probably middle of the pack here in representation in Mythic Plus. I think this is much more valuable to look at than it is like, like damage and stuff. But this is how we're like being represented in the top groups. You can see we are coming in here. And the reason we come in is for the Havoc Demon Hunter buff on a really like magic damage comp. Rat Paladin, Shadow Priest, very high magic damage. Balanced Druid, Enhancement Shaman, very high magic damage. Now, of course, these are also just people like Stone's a very good Havoc player, so he's playing in a group with other good players. But like again, Fire Mage, Boomy, Havoc comes in, it's pretty good. Now, the one thing about that is that Vengeance is very strong. Vengeance is probably the best tank in terms of damage for Mythic Plus. Bear Druid also does very well, and Prop Paladin has really good utility and off healing and stuff like that. So it's not like a clear-cut thing. If you don't have a Havoc, you have a lot of magic damage, and Demon Hunter is very, very strong. Now, I don't think we're in a bad spot. You see like 2 Feral Druids, like 14 Windwalker Monks, 9 Destro Warlocks, 1 Arcane Mage, 2 Frost Death Knights, no Unholies, like 3 Outlaws, no Assassins, no Survivals, like 4 Arms Warriors. So like we have pretty good representation. There's like 32 of us, which is roughly 5.2% of the DPS field. Nothing like Shadow Priest or anything. That's kind of just a crazy number. But I do think we have a place in those magic damage heavy comps. I don't think we're like the end of the world in Mythic Plus. I do think Devastation Evoker is a little underrepresented. I do think they're better than this representation number gives them. But, you know, with how strong magic is right now, Shadow Priests, even Sub-Rogues are really high magic damage with Black Powder, that's shadow damage. Rat's all holy damage. Balance is all magic. Enhancement, I think, is mostly magic damage. I actually don't know what build they're playing. They do have a physical build. I'm not an enhancement specialist. I don't follow them at all. I don't know if they're playing the elemental or the physical build. I imagine it's the magic one. You know, like Chain Lightning and stuff like that. But again, you know, Havoc does have a good place. I do think that Vengeance's power does push us down a bit. Like, if you had like a Prop Paladin here, you could run a Havoc over like your Mage or your Sub-Rogue, and it would be really good. I guess not on your Mage, you need Lust, but over like your Sub-Rogue or something. But, you know, not the best, not the worst. In terms of melee DPS, we're probably like the 4th best, I think. Yeah, 5th best, sorry. In terms of all DPS, we're probably in the top 10. Which is like fine. Top 10 is solid. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we're like 7th place, which is pretty solid. So top 10. But nothing like too crazy, nothing in the world. We have good damage. We have good stops and stuff. And we bring magic buff if there's no Vengeance. So I think overall we're in a solid spot right now. I do think we still need some help in Raid. I do think our talent tree needs to be fixed a bit. These numbers are honestly really low for Havoc. Havoc in the past has a ton of parses for it. Even go down and look at Heroic, where, you know, I don't really care about Heroic parses or anything like that, like, you know, Arcane Mage, whatever, right? If you look down at Havoc, 227,000. That is much lower than it used to be. Ret's almost at 420,000, right? And Beastmaster's at 260. Ton of Ret Paladins, by the way. That's kind of crazy. But Havoc used to have like really high representation. You see Fury's beating us now. Devastation's beating us. Shadow's beating us. EM's beating us. And then Retribution Paladin is just like absolutely smashing everybody in the dust. So, you know, Havoc is losing players. I do think something needs to be done in raids, but in M+, I think we're fine. So that's kind of going to be it for my video today. Just a little bit of a talk about Sims, how we're doing in the meta, how we're, where our niche is, stuff like that. I do think overall we're in a good spot. I think we need help in raids. I think in Mythic Plus we're okay. I think if Vengeance was worse, we'd be doing better overall in the meta. But with Vengeance being really strong, you don't really need to bring us a ton because Vengeance is like a 4th DPS. They have an AoE silence. They're just very, very powerful. So I do think we're being held back a bit by Vengeance's strength. We're also being held back a bit by our just low single target damage, especially with how uptime dependent it is. But overall, I do think we're okay. We need a few touches here and there. They don't seem to be coming in 10.1.5, so hopefully 10.1.7 we'll see something. But hey, is what it is. That's going to be it for my video today. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you liked it, drop a sub, drop a like, drop a comment down below as well. I'll have more Havoc content and WoW content coming throughout the rest of this week and in the future. So if you enjoyed that, become a sub. If you really want to support me, help me make more content, give me a little bit of a bonus if you enjoy my content, then become a channel member. You get exclusive perks, exclusive videos, emotes, exclusive sub channel on my Discord, and some exclusive giveaways coming up in the future. So if those sound interesting to you, there's a link in the description to follow to become one of those. With that, I hope you guys enjoy your day. Hope you guys have a good rest of your Monday. Hope you guys have good luck on your vaults tomorrow. And I'll see you guys then. Peace. A big thank you to my channel members, 121, Payne, Zach Ward, It's Bulk, and Flapjack67. You guys are amazing and help me to put out this content that I do for all you guys. If you want to become a channel member, there's a link in the description. You get access to a ton of cool perks, exclusive emotes for comments and live chat whenever I stream on YouTube, as well as a ton of other things, and just get to help me make better content. Once again, thank you all so much. I really appreciate it, and thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time. Peace.